Good morning, gardeners, and welcome to Monday, July 17th. My name is Catherine, and I created a show called Good Morning Gardeners, even though I can't grow green things because I am referring to gardening metaphorically. We are planting the seeds for a better day. We're starting our morning by getting in the right mindset to cultivate a better life for ourselves, better communities, and a better world. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to add Good Morning Gardeners to your morning routine. I do my best to wake you up with positive and mentally stimulating ideas, but sometimes I miss things. If you have something to add to the ideas I discussed today, please chime in the comment section below. Today's daily Stoic reading is titled, Don't Abandon Others or Yourself. Not the sticky note on the back of the book. And this daily reading begins with a quote from Marcus Aurelius. As you move forward along the path of reason, people will stand in your way. They will never be able to keep you from doing what's sound, so don't let them knock you out of your goodwill for them. Sorry, let me repeat that. They will never be able to keep you from doing what's sound, so don't let them knock out your goodwill for them. Keep a steady watch on both fronts, not only for well-based judgments and actions, but also for gentleness with those who would obstruct our path or create other difficulties. For getting angry is also a weakness, just as much as abandoning the task or surrendering under panic. For doing either is an equal desertion, the one by shrinking back and the other by estrangement from family and friend. The authors add, as we begin to make progress in our lives, we will encounter the limitations of the people around us. It's like a diet. When everyone is eating unhealthy, there is a kind of unnatural alignment. But if one person starts eating healthy, suddenly there are opposing agendas. Now there's an argument about where to go for dinner. Just as you must not abandon your new path simply because other people may have a problem with it, you must not abandon those other folks either. Don't simply write them off or leave them in the dust. Don't get mad or fight with them. After all, they are at the same place you were not long ago. So I do think that is a really good reminder, and I definitely have experience with the healthy diet conflict there. But I also think that we have to be careful with this one because, at least in my experience, one of the most common complaints about my personality that I've collected over the years is that I seem to think I'm better than everyone else. And I do think it is pretty common for people who are maybe in like a bad place in their life to weaponize that phrase of, you think you're so much better than me. And I always remind myself to take that criticism with a grain of salt. But I also think that on a practical level, if this is the vibe you're giving off, if this is the way that you're, legitimately making people feel, then it's not really helpful to you. It can be really isolating sometimes. Other people, they want to receive that feeling of mutual human respect from those with whom they interact. And of course, empathy is the best way to achieve this. And I do think that is ultimately what the daily reading is calling for. However, when you say to someone, I used to be just like you and now I'm on a higher level or something like that, it comes off as extremely condescending. And even if you don't speak that phrase out loud or something like it, if you're thinking that or if you're thinking something else like it, I think it can still be communicated non-verbally. So instead of thinking to yourself, that person is just further down the staircase or further back on the path than I am, and one day they'll get to where I am. I think it's better to think that person is on their own separate staircase or they're on their own separate path. So their trajectory or journey doesn't have to look just like mine. That doesn't mean you can't empathize with another person's experience or relate to their journey. Like if you used to eat a lot of junk food and now you try to avoid this kind of thing, you can think, I know what it feels like to want that food. And I don't think you necessarily need to tack on the additional thought of, I know what it feels like to want that food, and hopefully one day this person will understand that it's not worth it to eat that. Like, sure, you can build a case for why everyone should eat, what is commonly referred to as healthy, but personally, I don't think it's worth it. I think a much more worthy mindset is to cut down on judgment and assumptions about other people wherever you can. And a lot of things, especially eating, the food that other people eat is just none of our business. But it's at this point that I start to feel like I am falling into the trap of seeming like I think I am better than people who think that they are better than other people. It's a paradox. I can't tell you what to do if I'm telling you that you shouldn't tell other people what to do. So I'm just going to move on for now. Do what you want. I'm just sharing my perspective and opinions, and I hope you guys find this episode helpful today. For our learning moment, I want to share with you a mindset from a book I am currently reading, Work the System by Sam Carpenter. The premise of this book is that your life is a collection of individual systems. And if you can fix those systems one at a time, you will fix your life. So Sam Carpenter refers to this approach as a non-holistic approach. He writes, "Is there a holistic or global side of you that balks at separating things in order to scrutinize them individually? You may say everything is connected, that we're all one, and we must stop seeing ourselves as distinct from the world around us. Perhaps you think our lives are immeasurably complex and beyond human comprehension. That's fine for the big picture. I tend to think that way myself when relaxing and daydreaming. But for now, here on this material earth where we must physically navigate each moment, deep six that perception and go with the case for separation and simple mechanics. Try it on for size. And understand that repairing an entire scattered conglomeration of a life in one fell swoop is impossible. It can't be done holistically, despite the feel-good rightness that word suggests. Fixing anything of complexity requires proceeding one step at a time, one component at a time, a decidedly non-holistic approach. I don't care for the term holistic solution. Instead, I like the term holistic result, which suggests that each component subsystem within the primary system is functioning at peak efficiency, resulting in an entity that is superb in fulfilling its purpose. So, it's a very good thing to take your world apart to study it, to get things straightened out piece by piece. You can view things as a whole later when you're not working on the details. There will be plenty of time for that. So, before he dives into the details of his detail approach, he provides an overview of the 3 steps of this systems approach. So I am going to read those to you now. The first step is separation, dissection, and repair of systems. The incredibly satisfying exercise of exposing, analyzing, and then perfecting work, personal, and relationship systems. This ongoing effort includes creating new systems from scratch as well as eliminating the ones that have been holding you back. Step 2. Documentation, creating written goals, principles, and processes. These are tangible guidelines for action and decision-making for you and the people who work for you. This is not a feel-good exercise. It's the mandatory foundation for creating tremendous efficiency. This is the one-time heavy lifting, and it won't take long to get your documentation up and running. And if you lead a team or department, you'll teach your people to do it. Step 3, ongoing maintenance of system, greasing the wheels. It's easy. By this time, the positive results of the work the system method are motivating because it's so obvious the systems you've created are carrying the ball. You will happily manage your systems in order to keep them operating at peak efficiency. So this approach is incredibly appealing to me, and I can't tell you guys how excited I am to finish this book, and I will continue sharing any valuable ideas that I glean along the way. But to me, just the very concept of this systems approach is a feel-good moment. So I'm going to stick with Work the System and read a little section that I find is, pretty inspiring. It makes me feel good. Sam writes, each of us has recurring individual systems we employ to good advantage. We have a multitude of these processes down pat, and we perform them efficiently today because we have practiced them over and over in the past. We've become expert at walking, driving a car, preparing breakfast, and operating a smartphone. Why are we skilled in these small system proceedings? Because sometimes they are simple, yes, but mostly because at some point we consciously paid close attention to the elements of the processes. We analyzed, adjusted, practiced, and learned the bit parts so that after a while we could execute the complete protocols with little effort, much of the time without thinking. Remember learning to tie your shoes and to ride a bike? But for most people, there is no deliberate effort to dissect and then perfect the sequential workings of more complex adult world system processes within their businesses, careers, health, and relationships. Too many just churn along, wasting their days dealing with the same problems over and over again because they aren't focusing on the systems that are creating those problems. If this is you, you can tackle the more involved challenges of your world, the challenges that have stymied you because of their invisible complexities, by simply redirecting the perceptive, investigative, and analytical skills you already possess. You're going to focus moment to moment on the elements of a profoundly simple equation. The systems mindset is not the mental paradigm 99 out of 100 people pack around day to day. Here's how it will be for you. Instead of seeing yourself as an internal component of circumstance enmeshed within the day's swirling events, your vantage point is going to be outside and slightly elevated from those events. The day's happenings will be visible as separate and individual elements, simultaneously occurring in logical sequences. You will be an observer, looking down on your world, examining the comings and goings of the day as if they are physical objects spread out on a table in front of you. You'll clearly see the separateness of the systems of your world. The components will be simple and understandable. Wherever you look, the world's bustle will make sense. You will see that step by step, one thing leads to another as the systems around you continually execute, some under your control and some not under your control. Your job will be to work your systems, the systems you can control. One by one, you will take your systems apart, analyze the elements, and then make them better. Over time, complexity and confusion will decrease and will be replaced by order, calm, and rock-solid self-confidence. There will be little fire killing and no confusion. And as you peer down at your handiwork, you will feel self-respect and you will be proud of what you have accomplished. All by yourself, you will have created the life you always wanted. So for our focus moment today, I invite you to start increasing your awareness of the repeating systems in your life. This can include systems that you've designed intentionally. For example, listening to Good Morning Gardeners as part of your morning routine. It can also include systems that have sprung up more organically, like taking your vitamins every time you glance at the bottle, or opening up a specific app every time you unlock your phone. It will be very, very tempting to judge any systems that you don't like in this process, but I encourage you to keep the judgment to a minimum, because judgment can create other emotions that restrict our ability to act, like stress and shame. We tend to think better and perform better when we are relaxed, and the next step is going to be actually doing something about these maladaptive systems. So we need to stay in a mindset that is going to foster this productivity. But for now, let's start by examining our systems and asking ourselves how each one fits into enabling, or inhibiting our ideal life. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I will speak with you again tomorrow.